are they, so we proclaim, and so you have come to believe. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.
And we have already heard one version of the Easter story from the Gospel of John. We're also going to read another version from the Gospel of Mark, the last chapter of that Gospel, chapter 16. And when the Sabbath was over, Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of James, and Salome brought spices so that they might go and anoint him. And very early on the first day of the week, when the sun had risen, they went to the tomb. They had been saying to one another, "Who will roll away the stone for us from the entrance of the tomb?" When they looked up, they saw that the stone, which was very large, had already been rolled back. As they entered the tomb, they saw a young man dressed in a white robe sitting on the right side, and they were alarmed. But he said to them, "Do not be alarmed. You are looking for Jesus of Nazareth, who was crucified. He has been raised. He is not here. Look, there is the place where they laid him. But go, tell his disciples and Peter that he is going ahead of you to Galilee. There you will see him, just as he told you." So they went out and fled from the tomb, for terror and amazement had seized them, and they said nothing to anyone, for they were afraid. This is the gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, O Christ. My sermon for Easter Sunday is entitled Resurrection Road, based on Mark chapter 16, in particular these verses 5, 6, and 7, which read, "As they entered the tomb, they saw a young man dressed in a white robe sitting on the right side, and they were alarmed. But he said to them, 'Do not be alarmed. You were looking for Jesus of Nazareth, who was crucified. He has been raised. He is not here. Look, there is the place they laid him, but go tell his disciples and Peter that he is going ahead of you to Galilee. There you will see him, just as he told you.'" The call of faith is a call to a journey. If you think you've arrived, you're doing something wrong. In the Easter story, especially the version of Easter found in the Gospel of Mark, Jesus is not at the tomb. He is not here, the women are told, and Jesus doesn't desire that you stay at the tomb either. The message of Easter is, in part, stop hanging around your comfortable tombs. Go out and find Jesus on Resurrection Road. There is where you will see him, just as he told you. Think about roads and think about journeys. They are so much part of our culture. Ancient stories of Gilgamesh and Odysseus teach us that the life journey is an archetypal way of viewing what it means to be human. We're all on a journey. The people of Israel journeyed, didn't they? They journeyed through the wilderness for 40 years before they reached the promised land. And here in America, roads and journeys have been a huge part of what it means to be American. The road trip, the summer road trip. Think about Route 66 that took cars from Chicago all the way out to the West Coast and changed our culture in the process. Jack Kerouac gave us On the Road. Ricky Ricardo and Lucy headed out as well in the long, long trailer. Easy Rider, 50 years old now, is the landmark film about a generation that changed a nation, On the Road. There's lots of very good movies and some really not so good movies about road trips, but the better ones include Little Miss Sunshine and Almost Famous, and one of my favorites, Midnight Run, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and going all the way back to 1934 with Frank Capra's It Happened One Night with Claudette Colbert and Clark Gable. The Key to the Highway. The Key to the Highway is a classic blues song covered by countless artists in the blues genre, including Eric Clapton and B.B. King. There's been novels written about journeys and roads. Cormac McCarthy gave us The Road, which tells a story of a father and a son traveling together in a desperate attempt to survive in post-apocalyptic America. There was a movie, The Revolutionary Road, starring Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio, tells a story of about a 1950s couple that settled in the Connecticut suburbs. In the Connecticut suburbs, they were surrounded by success and opportunity, but they, as a couple, couldn't escape the idea that the life that they were really searching for was somewhere else, out there in Paris. The couple are desperate to not be like everyone else that they live with there in the suburbs, the land of self-delusion and escape. Life must be somewhere else, they think. Life must be somewhere out there. Like so many of us, we view life as a destination. If we just get to a certain point, then everything's going to be okay. If we can only get the kids out of diapers or get the kids through college, if we can just pay off the credit cards, if Dad would only accept me for who I am, if only people saw the world the way that I see the world, if God would only give me what I want, if we could just get through this pandemic and go back to normal, someday, we keep thinking, someday when such and such happens, no matter what it is, someday when that magical thing happens, then all the magic will appear out of the great blue yonder, things will be better, and I will then finally be happy. But God doesn't offer us a destination this side of heaven where once we arrived, all is settled and final. Life is a journey, as the saying goes. Mark's gospel places a young man, which is typical description of an angel, a young man at the tomb who says to us, go out, leave here, keep moving. Jesus is out ahead of you. Go out, and there is where you will see Jesus out on the road. Get on Resurrection Road, and there you will find life. Life is a process of becoming, a journey. And even, did you hear it in 1 Corinthians chapter 15 when Paul wrote, through which you are being saved, as if it's a process of becoming saved. We often think of Easter as just one Sunday, but Easter is a season. And it's not just a one and done event, something that happened once a long time ago. Easter is a starting point, a beginning, an exit from the old, a movement toward the new. The resurrection is transition. And so this means that we're not supposed to live like we used to live. It means all the fear and anxiety of our current daily life is a tyranny that doesn't stand after Easter. It means that the despair and cynicism of our current age are chains that have already been broken if we choose to step out of them. The stone being rolled away means that there is no longer any obstacle between you and life. Listen to the instructions given by the young man at the tomb. Instructions that give you a direction for your life. Essentially saying to each and every one of us, even yet here today, there is a way out of your graveyard. Resurrection changes everything. That's the Easter proclamation. The question is, will you let it change your life? Do you agree to participate in what God is already doing? What is it that you no longer need? What are you carrying that is dead or dying? Will you leave old habits behind? Will you lay down your burdens of old grievances? Will you be open to changing your mind? Can you leave behind that old pattern of behavior that no longer suits you and is keeping you back? We think of Easter as the Easter bunny and, thanks be to God, lots of chocolate. But it's not all butterflies and rainbows, because Easter is also a confrontation with all the dead that we are still living in, all the tombs that we still crawl back inside. Easter is a reckoning. Anything dead and dying within us is inviting to be cast aside so that we can still become something new, enter into what yet is still becoming. Are you willing to be an Easter people? Are you willing to see yourself and see the world with new eyes? It's a powerful message, but it's also a scary one, isn't it? But that's also the message of Easter, is that is it so scary to leave our old ways behind us? We do not travel alone. We do not travel an uncharted path. We travel down Resurrection Road with pioneer Jesus always out there in front of us, inviting us into that newness. And we do this so that our faith is not a faith of the tomb, but our faith is a faith of liberation, of hope, of life, of imagination, of creativity, of courage. Resurrection is already out there. It's all around us. It's popping up everywhere. All around us are signs of what was once dead is coming back to life, transformed into something new. And this means that our lives are holy. Your life is holy. You were created with the divine spark in you, the image of God. So you are already infused with everything that you need to live a life that God intends for you, for everyone, and for everything. So do not despair. Do not fear. Jesus is not at the tomb, nor does Jesus desire that you stay in your tomb either. Go out and find Jesus on Resurrection Road. Out there is where you will see Jesus, just as he told you.